Alright fellas, big first final in this final stretch of the season. Chatham Cup, Western Suburbs. Now look, they've been scratchy so far in the National League Championship. We should be able to handle them, okay? So just make sure we don't bowl it and bring home another Chatham Cup, boys. Let's go.
Party in the streets and the city's on fire.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 115 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and Cashmere Technical. And coming up today, it's a Chatham Cup final as per usual, with the latter of those teams we take on the only team so far in the save to have won this since we've come here, apart from us, Western Suburbs, in the 2035 final. So if you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday we took on Wellington Olympic in the semi-finals of this competition. If you missed that one, it also included quite a few transfers. I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Since then, no more transfers, but we have finished off the Southern League season and also got life underway in the National League Championships. We'll cover that off first. And it's actually quite interesting what's been going on so far in the National League Championship. First up, we finished off the Southern League and did complete it with a perfect record 3-0 win there over Nelson Suburbs, backed up with a 6-3 win over Christchurch United. Second half performance in this game, actually quite poor. Lost that second half 3-1 there to Christchurch United, but thankfully the first half did mean that we picked up a 6-3 win and we went through as the top qualifier from the Southern League. As you're about to see, obviously, with a perfect record, Christchurch United, they still finished second, and Firumi Bays actually ended up finishing third above Otago Uni, and it was Selwyn United in the end who got relegated quite comfortably down to the second tier here in the South Island. Same applies there in the Central League. Palmerston North United had a pretty bad season. They've gone down, but Western Suburbs have Lock North and Northern Rovers are the teams who make their way through to the National League Championship. Wellington Olympic and Napier City Rovers, unlike the last couple of seasons, couldn't quite get themselves into one of those top three spots in Northern League. Auckland City won that. Manurewa, Eastern Suburbs and Western Springs, they go through to the National League Championship. Tauranga City and East Coast Bays just miss out in a pretty tight relegation race there, especially compared to the other divisions. That's what happened in terms of each of the subdivisions before we got stuck in the National League Championship. And going back over to the schedule, we've got off to a good start. Began life there with a 5-0 win over Eastern Suburbs, double there to Tim Anderson, and also goals to Siad Diallo, Khaled and Lorenzo Janssen. Off the back of that, took on the Phoenix Reserves away from home. Of course, this was the only team who beat us last season in the exact same game up at Fraser Park. And to be fair, didn't play that well again here, but a 1-0 win thanks to a first half goal to Siad Diallo. So thankfully, got past that tricky hurdle. The Phoenix Reserves can be quite tricky for us in this save, and then backed it up with a full rotation before this Western Suburbs game, seeing as it's only 3 days off the back of this Manurewa game. We picked up a 6-0 win, goals there to Victoros Kanate, Max Caputo with a hat-trick, and Samir Larachi, one of those young players who we bought in prior to yesterday's episode. He also got a goal starting at right wing with Max Caputo there with a hat-trick with the sale of Jamie Young these days. He is the backup to Lorenzo Janssen. We'll go off to a hot start in the National League Championship despite that slightly iffy performance there against the Phoenix Reserves. Here's what the table looks like though. Havelock North in second. That is very, very surprising. 2 wins and a draw. Those wins against Northern Rovers and Manurewa. The draw that was against Western Springs. So to be fair, not too sure if they've played anyone good yet, but more interesting, Western Suburbs, to be fair, not doing too badly. In third, they've beaten Auckland City 2-0 and the Northern Rovers, but did lose to Western Springs, so we're just below them on the table. So that's quite interesting. And also, Auckland City have not won any of their first 3 games. 2 draws against Eastern Suburbs and Western Springs, 2 fellow teams from the Northern League, before a loss to Western Suburbs. So Auckland City are already playing catch-up in the championship phase of the National League. So maybe this could also be the final that we see at the end of the season coming up in the Chatham Cup, albeit the way Havelock North are going. That would be something interesting and a bit different if we took those guys on in a National League Championship final. But Western Suburbs, they come into this Chatham Cup final off the back of that win over Auckland City, but obviously a loss recently to Western Springs does suggest that they might be a bit vulnerable, but to be fair, they did not lose a game in the Central League. They're pretty similar to us in terms of their sub-league here in New Zealand, but can trip up a bit more than us when they do get into competitions like the Chatham Cup as well as the National League Championship, albeit they did beat Auckland City on their way to this Chatham Cup final as well. So far these guys have had the win over Auckland City this season, and unlike us, they have a full squad to select from for this Chatham Cup final, because unfortunately, this final falls at the same time as under 23 Olympic qualifying. So that does mean a lot of our under 20 options are not available, and also a couple who are a bit older who would usually start for us. So a quick look at the tactics going into this game. A few interesting players there in certain positions, because if we go down, we are missing Harrison Debenham, Sam Clark, Jack Honey, Chris Greenidge, and Mitchell Clout all the way on international duty. And also Xavier Smith and Tariq Nah, they are out with injuries. So we are missing quite a few players for this Chatham Cup final, but hopefully we'll still be okay. As you can see, a couple of new faces in this team. Also worth noting, Henrik Fries, he's been high away in the B team for a little while now, but he's actually been here long enough to now be an option for the All Whites if we do call him up. And we've got a couple of international windows coming up off the back of this game. If there's an injury at left wing, he is certainly in the picture to be someone who does get a call up. But these days, Henrik Fries is a local. That's one of the reasons he is on the bench, and that could become regular with Tariq now taking a foreign spot. Fries being a local might just see him get a bit more game time in the first team, but did think that was worth pointing out. Henrik Fries these days has qualified for the national team. But Isaac Hughes at right back for this one. Phil Wilson is the other right back who came for our youth intake last season on the bench, but just coming back from a pretty major injury, only recommended for 45 minutes. Liam Clark's our left back cover with no Jack Honey, and is one of those players that we did sign in that big batch of youngsters going into yesterday's episode. He's not very good, but can do a job. So he's on the bench in behind his son Diop, who's been here for a little while now. The 19-year-old, who I believe is from Senegal. He can do a decent job there with no Honey and no Xavier Smith. Also Tristan Turner with no Sam Clark. Thankfully up front, not too many changes, but we have got Gilbert on the bench because with Corona on the bench, because he is the best defensive midfield option we've got, and of course it would be either him or Vinicius. Either one would take up a foreign spot, and with the 4 already in the first team, that does mean no spot on the bench for Castro, despite the lack of Mitchell Clout. So a few changes to our usual lineup going in to this Chatham Cup final. Hopefully won't prove too disruptive, but thankfully gave all these guys a pretty good rest in that Manurewa game. The rotation did a good job, so should be fresh and ready to go here in this Chatham Cup final, which is at home. And hopefully we can pick up the trophy yet again as we take on Western Suburbs. And here are the team sheets for this season's Chatham Cup final. You saw ours before, just a couple of changes to our usual first choice 11, Diop and Hughes at wingback. And also we have got Turner in the deep line playmaker with those players who are away on international duty. There are Western Suburbs, 4-3-3. Looks pretty similar, to be fair. The last couple of times I've taken them on, still got key players there like Luluai and Villarreal who have got all whites caps, albeit a wee while ago now. But hopefully at my arena we can lift the Chatham Cup yet again. And we've just gone past the 15-minute mark to get the first highlight of this game. It's a free kick here in our favour. We take it short here from the back. So far, we've had 3 shots, but none on target. Western Suburbs, they've only had 1 shot that was on target, though. So a bit of an interesting game so far. Let's see what happens from this first highlight. We eventually spray this left. Ciardiello just takes a little bit of time there on a turn. Thankfully, keeps hold of the ball. And then a pass, which almost gets cut out. And Diop will find there Ciardiello, who makes his way in behind beautifully and beats the Chronopolis in goal. For Western Suburbs, a player who previously had on trial here at Cashmere Technical, American goalkeeper. Can't keep that one out, which is a bit disappointing thought there that we might lose the ball, but thankfully still found its way through to Diop, and Ciardiello off the back of that could make a run through and beats the Chronopolis from a pretty tight angle just inside that far post. 1-0 up at the 20-minute mark. And going forward 10 minutes off the back of that opening goal, now we're down the other end here for a free kick to Western Suburbs. Looking for Villarreal at the far post. Thankfully, we can head that one away, albeit Suburbs are back on the ball here as per usual in the all black with the red socks. Villarreal makes his way down that right-hand side of player. A couple of windows ago, we did give a cap to when Jacob Hall-Jones was out with injury, but this time they give the ball away here, Western Suburbs, and now Ciardiello can do something down our left-hand side. Spends a lot of time on the ball, eventually finds Janssen, takes a shot deflected, falls beautifully to Wally Khalid. Lots of help there from the underside of the crossbar, but our star Egyptian right winger picks up yet another goal this season so far. Looks like he might be on target to beat both the assist and goal scoring records here at Cashmere Tech. The way it's going for a season, it's a pretty fortunate goal, especially because it was a deflection and then it came off the underside of the crossbar, but we're 2-0 in front. And then a couple minutes on from that second goal, now it's a throw for us here, and we are almost inside the final third. Briefly give the ball away there, and Tim Anderson doesn't judge that one too well. Thankfully, the all-white and Ryan Billingsley tidies things up. Diop there a bit slow on the ball, but thankfully this time Anderson is there to react, and eventually we do give the ball away there. Luluai will get Western Suburbs back on the attack, albeit not for long. A nice pass there through to Ezra Zoomers. Easy work there for Ezra. He'll put that one away from the assist from Khalid. As I said before, I think he might be on track to break both records at the club in terms of a goal scored and assists in a year this season. Poor giveaway there from Suburbs, and Khalid plays through Ezra, our Australian striker. 3-0 up with 10 minutes left in the first half. And the action continues here quite quick and fast off the back of the half-hour mark. It's a goal kick here in our favour as we try and make our way out from the back. Western Suburbs are probably going to need a goal here before half-time to try and make their way back into this one. That's a poor touch there. I think that was from Ciardiello, and Western Suburbs will get on the ball. But good tackle there from Evans off the back of a loose touch from Suburbs. Now Khalid can make his way down this right-hand side. To be fair, I thought this game would be a lot closer with the changes that have been enforced with Olympic qualifying, but so far we're blowing away Western Suburbs, much like we did to Manurewa in the game before a couple of days ago with a full rotation against Suburbs. Can't keep hold of the ball. Ciardiello cuts inside nicely, takes on a shot there looking for the top right corner, but Chronopoulos that time comes up with a good save, making up for the first effort, which he couldn't save from a tight angle, and keeps it at 3-0. The corner, they do deal with it there eventually with a diving header clear. It's a 3-0. Looks like it might be the score going into half-time, albeit one more highlight here as we're about to make our way into added time. Still not sure how long that will be, but it's a lovely ball over the top there from Tristan Turner from Wyled Khalid. 26 goal this season for our Egyptian right winger, and he is tearing Western Suburbs apart in this game. 2 goals and an assist. This is a wonderful ball from Tristan Turner, making the most of Sam Clark being away on international duty. I think they all thought that was going to be played there for Zoomers, but it just did enough on it to make its way a bit deeper, and Khalid puts that one away. And that is a very clinical first half from us there. 4-0 in front off the back of only 5 shots on target. Our XG not that great, but we have definitely been a team on the front foot, and we've made it count. Western Suburbs going to need an Istanbul miracle here to try and make their way back into this one in the second half. Very happy, no changes needed, with a 4-0 lead in the Chatham Cup final. Albeit we're not going to have to wait too long here to make our first sub in the second half. We'll play things safe with a 4-0 lead. Louis Evans with a yellow card. Corona will come on for him. And just about to make our way up to the hour mark, and we eventually get the first highlight here of the second half. Chronopoulos boots that one deep. Hughes will tidy that one up, albeit not too well. Does give Western Suburbs a chance here to do something down their left-hand side, albeit not for too long. They eventually play that one in field for Warrington on a yellow card. That ball does just find Villarreal. Thought we might cut that one out there through Diop. He makes his way inside the box. Good chance there. Not too sure who that was for, but comes off the woodwork. That was a chance that Western Suburbs really need to take. They need to take all their chances from this point forward, being 4 goals behind us. Harrison Tish, a player who I believe might be on loan from the Phoenix, or at least used to be in the Phoenix youth teams, makes his way off the bench. But that highlight, thankfully, they don't score from, and we hold on to our 4-goal lead. We're going to make a sub here. Hughes will take him off for young Phil Wilson, coming back from injury. Young player, let's give him some game time, but pretty happy with how everyone else out there is doing. Still 4-0 in front with only a half hour left. And we're just making our way into the last 20 minutes of this game, so I think it's a good time now to make our final sub. Does look like we're going to be picking up the Chatham Cup here yet again, I think. We'll bring on Liam Clark, the youngest of our players, on the bench, under 20. Let's try and help him develop by coming on for Asana Diop. Done a decent job there in place of both Smith and Honey. Still 4-0 in front late in the Chatham Cup final. And pretty sure the back of that final sub we make, there was a clearance there from us, and Western Suburbs do get back on the ball. Going to need a really late goal rush here. Try and make their way back into this game. Villarreal with a shot, comes off the woodwork, then a clearance. Not too sure who that was from, but thankfully it did happen. Keeps it at 4-0 now. It's a free kick here to Western Suburbs. That one comes off the woodwork. The highlight continues, but eventually gets put over the bar. A couple of chances there for Suburbs. They can't take them. 4-0 as we make our way into the last 10 minutes. And very deep in this game now, with 5 minutes to go, it's a throw-in for us here inside of the final third. Can we grab one more goal to beat these guys 5-0, which is a rugby score technically, but I don't think we count that until it goes out to 7-0. But this has been a very good performance, especially in the first half. Second half, been a bit more scrappy, but when you've got a 4-goal lead, you can take that, especially in a cup final. But so far, looking very dominant this season here at Cashmere Tech, considering this is quite a comfy win. And of course, we did beat Auckland City 6-0 in the Champions League final last week, but Suburbs here are on the ball. Will they grab a consolation goal late in this year's final? Thomas makes his way forward down the left-hand side, almost finds their striker. Thankfully, we just get a foot in there to clear that one away. And now Khaled is on the ball. Will this highlight amount to much? No, it will not. Only a few minutes later, there is another highlight here. So lots of highlights late. Hopefully one might result in a goal. That one smacks Tiffany square in the backside, so we get the ball back here, and Khaled gets back on his zoomers, plays it back out to him, back out there to Phil Wilson. Nice ball into the mixer for CR Diallo, looking there for the top left corner. That one comes off the woodworks. Definitely getting some chances late here are both teams, but we have been well in control of this one. To be fair, don't think we got a shot on target there in the second half. Still only 5 in the game, but we scored from 4 of them. And yet again, we're going to lift the Chatham Cup here at Cashmere Tech. We've almost owned that trophy since we've come here just that 1 year. A couple of seasons ago, where Western Suburbs did beat us. I think it was in the quarterfinals or something like that. Thankfully, we've got our revenge this season on them, and we pick it up off the back of a 4-0 win in the final. So yet another Chatham Cup for us here at Cashmere Technical. There you can see on the right-hand side, that's now our 5th one in the last 6 years, and definitely looking like the best team in New Zealand so far this season, based on both the National League Championship performance and also that comfy 4-0 win over a Western Suburbs team who have beaten Auckland City a couple of times this season. Just like us, there are the inbox items. The main thing, we get quite a bit of money for that, which is quite useful. Apparently, we are the cream of New Zealand managers. That sounds a little bit dodgy, actually. They should just say the top New Zealand manager, but another Chatham Cup win for us. That makes it now 10 times in the club's history. But I think in the save, we came here around about 2028. So I think that would make it maybe 7 with that one miss that we did have a couple of seasons ago. But everyone happy. Khaled, 2 goals and an assist. He continues to be our star player here at Cashmere Tech. And we can definitely keep him with the other under-20 players that we usually have in Sifuentes and Debenham, who should be around for another couple of years yet. So thankfully going to next season, not too many transfers that we do need to worry about, but that's the Chatham Cup wrapped up for the season. And to be fair already, looks like we should be making our way through to the National League Championship final as well, albeit still got to play some half-decent teams like Suburbs again and Auckland City. But that will do it for today's episode. If you enjoyed that Chatham Cup final, a 4-0 win, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. Now, right off the back of this, as you can see, 18 days until our next game with Cashmere Tech. That is because we've got an international window coming up with the All Whites. I'm going to skip that one because we're playing Paraguay and Japan, and we've taken both those teams on quite recently and been able to pick up decent results against both, but we might come back before the final for the next window in November, because that could be trickier. We're off to Africa to take on Ghana. Those guys are up in 18th in the world, and off the back of that, we'll take on Senegal. Those guys actually a bit lower ranked than both Paraguay and Japan in 30th, but 2 African teams. We usually do all right against African teams in this save. Hopefully that will continue when we come back for that in tomorrow's episode. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.